Hello, my name is Hector Rivas. Welcome everybody. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about your final project for your animated scene. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to start creating or how to start working with your animated scene. We already created the template, so now let's go ahead and start working on the actual artwork. Okay, so first of all, you have to sketch out your idea on paper. I think that's the best place to start for any project, is organizing what's in your mind, what's your creative ideas, getting like a blueprint together. So sketch out your ideas of where your like one of the scenes in your that's going to house all your character art. If they had to live somewhere, where would they be? Where would they live? And so I went ahead and took a couple of screenshots of something that I think could help us here for this particular project. And let's say it's something like this, that your animation starts in a small town, like a rural town. So your first project is to sketch it out, and then you take a picture of it or you scan it, and then you import it into Illustrator like this, or you can import it into Photoshop and start working on it. But I recommend you start in Illustrator, simply because this is how you're going to be turning it in. That way at least you can get your layout started, and then you can work on Photoshop. So I'll show you how to work on it in Photoshop as well. Okay, so now for your animated scene, this is like one of the views. However, you will need to create two different views. Number one view is part of your action is going to take place here. Let's say your characters are walking here. But the second view, it's still in the same scene, but there's a different camera angle. And maybe it's facing the front of a house, for example, where they live. Or it could be something like this. Here's your second scene. So it's like these two don't quite match up, but let's say it's something like this, like something that's taking place in the street, and then there's a shot of the front of the house where a lot of the action is going to take place. So as an example of a finished piece that's professionally done, and it's an animation that you probably have seen, I went ahead and brought up Bob's Burgers. So I'm gonna move some of these to the side so you get to see all of these pieces. Okay, so here's same scene, but this is the scene of looking down the street in the Wonder Wharf here, and you see Bob's Burger on the right hand side. So this is where most of the scenes are going to take place. Most of the action and most of the storytelling is going to happen here on the right hand side, but a lot of it happens out here on the street level. So this is one image that has to be created. Again, in Illustrator, Photoshop, or a combination of both programs. You decide. And then that's one view of the same, of one scene. Here's the different view. Now this is inside, not inside, I'm sorry. This is facing the restaurant, Bob's Burgers. And so you can kind of take a peek inside. So this is an external one, but I could have easily chosen inside the restaurant and choose two different scenes or two different ways of looking at camera angles. One's facing the kitchen and maybe one's facing the tables. But you can see that a lot of action is going to take place in both of these scenes. We're creating the backgrounds for that. Here is one way of the camera sort of coming in and cropping in and looking at one of the main characters that's in the foreground here. So she appears to be across the street from her own restaurant. And here's the whole family taking a picture in front of the restaurant. And here's a crew of people going in or picketing. It looks like they're picketing his restaurant. Okay, so that's how you get started. You first, I'm going to hide those Command 3. You first work on your drawing, and then you bring it in and you start drawing it. Like if you want to work on Illustrator, then I would lock that down. So remember, the shortcut for that is Command 2. Command 2, the number 2. It locks down the image so it doesn't move on you as you're drawing it. And then you can just start drawing it. White arrow, pen tool, fill, none, stroke, red, and let's say I'm gonna draw the sidewalk first, or a telephone pole. So I'm gonna go ahead here and draw this first telephone pole, come down, go up, see, I can go ahead and get in here and do some really nice detail work. I have the shapes overlapping here because I'm going to color them solid. And then I can go ahead and do all these transformers and all the pieces that belong to this. I lock as I draw Command 2. That way I don't accidentally make a mistake of clicking on something that already exists. So I lock it down, Command 2, and I keep going. Once I finish drawing it, I unlock everything, which is Command Option 2. And then I can go ahead and start coloring it. So let's say this telephone pole, whatever color I want to give it, let's say some kind of brown there. And I'm going to change the opacity on this simply because I want to see what's underneath it and just do a light version of it for now. And I am going to maybe give it a black outline, like a stroke color. So I'm going to give it a black stroke. As you can see, if I zoom in, it has a nice crisp black stroke. I can go ahead and tweak my artwork here. Maybe fix this handle. I'm going to use the eyedropper tool. You already know how to use all these tools. Use the eyedropper tool to select that color and fill. Oh, you know what? This became unlocked, so it shifts on me. I'm going to Command 2 to lock it back down again. And I'm going to fill those shapes there. And maybe this transformer is, I'm going to give it like a gunky yellow. And I'm going to change the opacity on that. I'm going to use the eyedropper tool and change this piece to a little bit of a darker yellow. So I'm going to change the opacity here. And I'll change it, double click on the yellow, go darker there. So you can see I'm creating this, recreating this artwork. And then when I'm done with it, then I am going to hide this background, the drawing, and I'm going to be left with only my artwork. So I'm going to unhide that again, Command Option 3. And I'll do one step at a time. It's going to take you a little bit of time. Be patient with yourself, as it's a lot of pieces to create here. And then, but eventually you're going to be left with something like this, or something like that. You know, and also be smart about how you work. For example, this one, there's a lot of telephone poles here. So I can, let me see, I can select, I can copy, I can paste in front, Command F, and then scale it, holding Shift. And then I can place this one back here. So I have another telephone pole. And then I can do another one and place it all the way back here. I'm holding Shift as I scale, so it's proportional. And I have my 3 telephone poles. Of course, I may change some of them slightly, so like the colors are going to be a little bit more muted as it goes into the background, or the transformer, and some of them may have it, some of them may not have it. So be wise with it. The same thing for windows, for the bricks, the siding, the fencing. Once you build one, you can copy and paste in front and Shift move, so you can be faster at it. Now, if you're going to do it in Photoshop, this is how I recommend you get started with your animated scene. You import it into Illustrator first, and then you do this. You know what, I'm going to hide that for a second. In fact, I'm going to hide everything except this. Okay, so you import it into Illustrator like this, so you get the right proportions and you fill up your whole canvas just like this. And then you take a screen capture of this image so it's exactly the same size. So watch this. To take a screen capture on the Mac side, it's Command Shift 4. And my cursor turns into these crosshairs. So now I can go to the upper left-hand corner, click and drag to my bottom right-hand corner. And then if I minimize this, on my desktop, I have this image here. But what's nice about it is the right proportions. So now, if I take this image and drag it into Photoshop, Photoshop is going to open it to be the exact size. So here, as it opens up here, this is the size that you want it to be. So now if you start editing it and coloring it, so let's see if I'm going to color the street here. Just to give you an idea. I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to call it street. I'm going to call it street. Press OK. And I'm going to start coloring on top of that. So first, I want to get the right color for it, which is going to be kind of a gray color. I'm going to press Option Delete, which is going to fill it with my foreground color. And then I'm going to change the opacity on this. So on the upper right hand corner, where it says opacity, I'm going to slide this guy down a little bit so I can see the image underneath it. Now Command D to deselect, and I painted the street on it, and I can start creating all this little debris on it. But once I'm done with it, let's say you went ahead and colored everything, and you drew it and you colored it and it looks fantastic. Well, you got to get it back to Illustrator. So how do you do that? You go to File, save as, and you're gonna call it, let's say this is your street view 01, because you may have multiple, and you're gonna save it. I'm gonna save it to the desktop, but you should create a project folder for all your documents. In fact, we'll do that to organize you at the end of this tutorial. But I'm gonna save it to the desktop for now. Street view _01 Photoshop. Save it. Save it as a Photoshop document. Illustrator can read Photoshop documents, no problem. Okay, so again, this is fully painted now. Let's pretend. And now you go to Illustrator. You go to, this is now, we're now in Illustrator. I'm gonna hide everything. And now I'm gonna bring in that image that we just did, this Photoshop document. So this is the one we just saved on the desktop. Notice that it has the gray street. It has the gray street there. And then I'm gonna simply drag and drop it into Illustrator. And notice that it's gonna come in exactly the size of your document. So this is how you can, anytime that you go from Illustrator to Photoshop, it's nice to know these little tricks, because that way everything matches exactly right. Because what if you would have brought it in and it came in like really small, and then you blow it up to this size and it doesn't look clean? Then it's not, then you worked on the wrong size and you have to start again and recreate it. So to avoid those mistakes, these are the little tricks that can help you keep everything consistent. All right, so this is how you're going to get started with your project, but I wanted to show you that you should organize yourself, that on the desktop you should create a new folder, and on this folder you call it your name _ last initial _ final animated scene 01. So that way you know that everything that belongs to this animated scene, your scans, your sketches, your Illustrator work, your Photoshop work, later on we do an animated sprite, everything's going to go inside this folder. And you keep yourself organized. So you're going to put in your screenshot in there, and then you put your street view Photoshop document in there, you put your Illustrator in here, everything goes in here. And let's go back to this. Okay, so this concludes this lesson. Thank you for watching. This is how you get your animated scene project started.